Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for November 27th, 2012. It is, of course, Tuesday morning, and we are dealing with a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, and a little bit of slick weather conditions throughout the northern mid-Atlantic this morning as an area of low pressure passes to our south and east. So, what are we dealing with this morning? Well, we have temperatures at or slightly below freezing over the interior, especially over northwestern Connecticut down through northwestern New Jersey and much of eastern Pennsylvania, except for, of course, the Philadelphia metropolitan area, which is around 39 to 40 degrees. And, of course, much of the coast is in the upper 30s to lower 40s. Pretty much what we're seeing here along the coast is going to be our highs for today. I really don't expect temperatures to rise all that much, as we're going to be dealing with plenty of periods of rainfall, light to moderate rainfall, mixing in with snow at times as that cold air mixes in. The snow over much of the interior, especially over eastern Pennsylvania, has produced some light accumulations, basically a trace to an inch over many locations. That snow is moving to the east and will be focused more just to the west of the Delaware River, where I'm expecting snowfall totals to push to anywhere between 2 to 4 inches. For the most part, though, we are dealing with a light to moderate snow threat, really not a major storm at all. Taking a look at the radar, you can see we have a clear separation in our disturbances. Here's our polar disturbance, here's our subtropical disturbance. Because they didn't phase, we're not seeing a major storm. We are seeing some periods of rain with some heavy downpours, and I think some of this has a little bit of sleet mixed into it as well. Over much of eastern Pennsylvania, we're looking at light to moderate snow. Not anything heavy in nature, but certainly producing a nice festive view out there for many of the kids going to school. A little bit of snow, it's a little bit of that holiday spirit, I guess, and keep them excited, for the school day. But for the most part, we're not really dealing with a major snow threat at all at this time. We have to keep an eye on this storm because if you look at the mid-level temperatures, we are plenty cold enough for snowfall throughout the entire northern mid-Atlantic. And if this was happening maybe 30 days later, we'll be talking about snow throughout the entire northern mid-Atlantic, but we're not there yet. Our ocean temperatures are still a little bit too warm, and as a result, our boundary layer temperatures are still in the upper 30s. Now, unlike the other storm where we had a rapid change over to snow because we had such intense lifting, at this time, and I'll be watching this throughout the day, at this time I do not see any indication of a similar strong dynamic influence in the atmosphere. For example, yes, there's some phronogenesis here, but it's not very strong. Whereas the previous storm, we had a warm pocket right around Connecticut, and that created an intense lifting over central New Jersey and changed the rain over to snow, and very heavy snow at that. At this time, I see no indication of that happening, just a typical cold press from basically northwest to southeast. Traditional for this type of storm as cold air bleeds into the northern mid-Atlantic, but I don't see any indication for any strong disturbances to create a little bit of a mischief in the forecast. At least right now. Again, I'm going to keep an eye on this throughout the day and seeing if there's any little disturbances that could, lead to some unexpected weather events. But for now, again, nothing of that sort appears to be organizing. Now, again, here we have a separation of our storms. Here's our polar disturbance. Here's our subtropical disturbance. Close, but no cigar. Okay? This low pressure system here will continue to track along the Gulf Coast and out towards the southeast coastal waters by this evening. Meanwhile, our other low pressure system will strengthen to the east of New Jersey, but will remain separated from this storm. As a result, this area of moisture moves from west to east, and this area of moisture moves from west to east, and neither will interact with each other until they move well off the coast. So basically what we can expect is periods of rain and snow changing over to snow even along the coast as we head in towards this evening. Accumulation will not be significant, but watch out for those roadways because they will be slick. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture, you can see this even more drastically here. You can see a clear separation. Here's our polar disturbance. Here's our subtropical disturbance. They're clearly going to remain separated here as they move to the east. And so, as a result, we don't end up with a major storm. Yes, we had some blocking here that set it up in the northern Atlantic, but it wasn't strong enough, and the ridge that developed over the west was not in the perfect position. Again, this had to be a perfect setup for this storm to actually be more than what was suggested by the GFS and European model guidance. The NAM model guidance was trying to show that, but it turns out it was not the case. And so as a result, we're dealing with just a light snowfall threat here in the next 24 hours. I'm going to use the GFS model guidance to illustrate the forecast from here on out. Here we are on this morning. You can see the separation of these two disturbances clearly in play. As a result, we end up with a weaker storm. By this afternoon, rain and snow throughout the northern Mid-Atlantic. Now again, 850 millibars, more than cold enough for snow throughout the entire region. However, the boundary layer temperatures, the temperatures at the surface, are going to remain just warm enough to prevent most of this snow from accumulating along the coast and supporting a light snowfall to maybe, some might consider it a moderate snowfall up to 4 inches over portions of eastern Pennsylvania. The rest of the forecast, here we are. By this evening, that low pressure system starts to exit. Now, here's our main low pressure system to the east of New Jersey. Again, our disturbances remain separated, so as a result, this low pressure system is intensifying, but it doesn't reach peak optimal potential. So as a result, we don't end up with a major storm again. Light snowfall by this evening with limited accumulations expected. That storm exits off the coast. And notice by after midnight, our storm rapidly intensifies well off the coast. Again, this all comes down to timing. If this was a little bit slower as far as the polar disturbance, we could have been dealing with a far more impressive storm. But at this time, that does not appear to be the case. Dry conditions will take hold by tomorrow evening, and then by tomorrow morning, and high pressure will remain in control through the next several days, with high pressure leading to temperatures basically slightly below normal in the upper 30s to lower 40s for highs over the interior, lower to mid 40s along the coast for tomorrow, for Thursday, and for Friday. But a nice warm-up starts to set up by the time we head into the weekend. As high pressure shifts off the coast, a warm front moves through and a few scattered showers, nothing major. But once this warm front moves through, we return back to temperatures in the upper 40s to mid 50s for highs for Saturday, Sunday, and yes, even Monday, with generally dry conditions. So once we get past this storm, with some light snowfall here and there, we actually start moving into a far more enjoyable weather pattern with temperatures in the 40s and 50s by this weekend. Taking a look at the forecast, breaking this down, right along the immediate coast, generally rain. We could see some snow at the very end, perhaps a trace of snow at most. Not really a big deal as far as any accumulation, especially right along the New Jersey coast, so pretty much a wet forecast for them. A little bit further to the west, especially over south central New Jersey, central New Jersey, back towards the New York City metropolitan area. Rain and snow changing over to snow, accumulations of a trace to an inch possible. Nothing major. In most locations, most pavement locations will remain wet. And then as temperatures crash tonight into the upper 20s, watch out for some icy icy conditions, should I say. Icy conditions on your roadways. Black ice will be a potential threat as well. Further inland, this is where we start to see accumulating snowfall, especially over northwestern New Jersey. Potentially even Philadelphia could see 1 to 2 inches of snow. Again, because the snow will be exiting later in the evening, we could see one little burst before everything exits out. Most locations in Philadelphia will be around an inch at most, and most of that will be on cold surfaces. And then as we head down towards Allentown, Bethlehem, Reading, Lancaster, look for anywhere between 2 to 4 inches of snow. Again, mostly on cold surfaces and on grassy surfaces. And as we move further west, I'm expecting less snowfall just because the storm will be exiting out a little bit faster. But again, most of the snowfall will be on cold and grassy surfaces, a little bit on pavement. Anywhere from a trace to 3 inches of snow can be expected further west, like around Harrisburg, Hazleton, Pottsville, locations like that. As we head up north towards Connecticut, looking for anywhere from a trace to maybe 2 inches of snow at most over portions of Connecticut, especially over these locations in Hartford and towards Poughkeepsie and towards White Plains, for example. Really not a heavy snowfall at all. This is not a big deal. This is not going to close schools. Anywhere from a trace to maybe 2 inches of snow at most. So that is your forecast for today. One last note I just want to bring up once again. We're having our workshop this coming Saturday, December 1st. One at Percocet, Pennsylvania between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. And the next one in Butler, New Jersey between 3 and 4:30 p.m. $20 right now, $30 at the door. And what you'll get a discussion about the winter weather pattern upcoming, and also you get to ask us a whole bunch of questions. We're going to have a lot of different topics to talk about at this winter weather workshop. It should be pretty interesting. So if you want to come and ask me a bunch of questions, or you just want to meet, hey, come on out, help out. And of course, some of those proceeds will go to the Red Cross Sandy Relief Drive. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Thank you for following NYNJPA Weather. Of course, I'll have constant updates throughout the day at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpa weather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.